Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Raul Falla.
And Raul Falla is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Welcome along to the Apex Racing League GTM Trophy, live and exclusive here on Apex Racing TV. Well, after last week's drama involving Amazon's massive server outage, preventing us from bringing you coverage and the action from Barcelona, the round was abandoned, so we have skipped round 8, and tonight we bring you the season finale and round 9 from Daytona. It's one of the classic tracks. We're just inland from the famous Daytona beach, which has seen many land speed records attempts over the years, but it's the 3.5-mile road circuit here, just inside the oval, that we'll be racing on today. Well, this place, it's been the home of endurance racing in the Americas, and of course, the first meeting here, well, of course, it was a sports car race. 12 corners making up the challenge for the drivers over the course of qualifying and the 1-hour race here tonight. I'm Tim Cox and we have Lewis Araya in production, but right now I'm joined by Andy Thompson, as I have been all season. Now, of course, 2 weeks ago we were at Le Mans, and who could forget it? What a race. We witnessed dominance from Ferrari, and the first time this season a manufacturer has completely locked out the podium, but also the first time, but certainly in this series, and quite possibly, I think the only time I've ever seen it in my commentary career, the podium was locked out by drivers starting with their surname, starting with the same letter. Gandolfi, Gickling and Gurici all taking the honours in France. Andy, Gandolfi, he's the man in form. He's won the last 2 rounds at Le Mans and Red Bull Ring for Ferrari. the man in form. The only other driver to do that so far this season has been Carriger in the Porsche. We're at another power track this week. I mean, surely Ferrari, they've got to be your favourites, one of the drivers from that team manufacturer, to take the victory here tonight.
Yeah, good evening, Tim. Good evening, viewers. Phenomenally round of this season. Really looking forward to it. If we have a quick look at the championship points, because like you were mentioning there, Gandolfi's had a really late surge to the championship at the moment, and that's really put him in contention for the overall championship at the moment. There's only about 7 points between himself and Matthew Mcbride, who's currently sat in first place. So that's the real battle for tonight, is over that championship win in first place between Mcbride and Gandolfi. It's a basic winner takes all championship tonight here for that first place, if they are one place behind each other. So it's going to be extremely interesting tonight. Obviously neutralised a little bit there from obviously not having Barcelona last week, but what that has done is made it really interesting tonight. Tom Bingham in third place, due to his drop round being quite strong, has actually secured third place already within the championship. So certainly that battle's going to be for the first and second. But like you were saying, Alberto Gandolfi has just been on fire for the past 2 rounds. So it'll be really interesting tonight with 2 fast cars between the BMW and the Ferrari.
It's going to be really interesting to see how, especially Mcbride gets on. He's not the best of times after making a flying start to the championship, and obviously not on the podium last time. He was 2 rounds ago at Red Bull Ring, which last week ending a streak of 3 times on the podium in a row. So it'd be interesting to see how he can get on. And surely, obviously, heading in tonight has to be your favourite for the championship. Obviously, we're into qualifying mode. We'll bring you up some times very shortly of how that's all going. Just a couple of messages from our sponsors. First of all, for the race, it's Virtual Racing School. If you're looking to improve your on-track performance with 50+ data packs for road, oval racing, the setups, track guides, data analysis software, and one-on-one coaching. Then we've got SDK Gaming, which we use for all of our broadcasts here at Apex Racing TV. Also, if you look, you can use it to add a live virtual HUD to iRacing. Like I say, show timing tabs like we're showing on the screen right now in the top left corner, track maps, enhanced relative boxes, fuel calculators, and much, much more. You can also use it to stream to Twitch for the most comprehensive overlay in iRacing. And then finally, we've got Apex Racing Academy with 29 data packs. Setups, track guides, integration with VRS, one of our other sponsors, weekly group coaching sessions, and much, much more. And you can see from qualifying, just about halfway, well, just over halfway through now, Jovanovski leading the times, but in that second place, it's that man Gandolfi for Ferrari. It's interesting, Gandhi.
Yeah, it certainly is. I was just having a look down some of the other battles in the championship, because obviously the top 10 places within the championship overall actually score prizes in this season at the moment, and there's a real battle on for the 10th place of the championship, currently at the moment being held by Ronald Schottner, who's had a really string of form for the last, I think, four or five races. He's come out of his shell and certainly has got back into contention. So he's in 10th place at the moment on 250, but right behind him on his heel is our third place finisher, Guidacini, who's only about 6 points behind him at the moment. So to get that last position of prizes within this championship, certainly going to be another hotly contested fight on track. But yeah, the usual suspect, as we see in the qualifying, 6 minutes 45 seconds into this, we've got Mcbride currently taking the honours, but only slightly over Gandolfi there in third place. So it's going to be a really interesting race, and it'd be really good to have them two at the front of the field. Obviously, you were mentioning about Mcbride and his season performances so far. Obviously, unfortunately, Le Mans got taken out even before the start-finish line in Le Mans with a that last corner incident that we saw that really put paid to his race there. But, you know, finishing second, sixth was his lowest position, and then it's a first and a second. So certainly got the consistency as Matthew Mcbride. But like you were saying, Gandolfi has just come on fire the last 2 rounds in first place. So it's going to be a real humdinger of an hour race tonight here at a classic track of Daytona. Even though it's at the night time in Daytona, I mean, as you can see, it's probably the best one you want to have in a night race. It's so well lit around this track.
It is. It's like I say, it's pretty much like daylight here due to the amount of flood lighting we have out on the track. It's a nice cool evening here. It's currently around just coming up to 10 to 8 p.m. in the evening with a 26 degrees Celsius track temperature under the lights, and a great way to finish off the championship. Saying Mcbride leading the championship, currently second on the grid. Jovanovski under a tenth is what separates those two. Gandolfi, just seeing on the screen at the moment for Ferrari, he is on the second row with Petrovicius alongside. It's the usual protagonist for Porsche as well. He's in 5th place. We've got Tom Bingham. We see some great outings from him this season, but just look at how tight all the times are. A second covers the top 18 here, and some of the margins here, Andy, they're literally, I mean, just look at, if you look at, well, we see Hubler, wow, what a lap from him to slot that up onto the front row. Only just under 200ths of a second was all that prevented him from getting onto the pole in the Ferrari. But I mean, you look, just looking down the field, Andy, I mean, look, you look at the battle between Rafatea in 16th, Torres, Vinagre, Hereford, there's, just having a look at it, that's 600ths of a second separating those 4 places. It's amazing just how competitive this grid is. And if this is anything to go by, we've just come into the side the last minute of qualifying. We're going to be in for an absolute blinder of a season finale here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a great track to finish off. Wide open track, really technical inlay field on this. So, I mean, you think about the setups. The setups come into this. This is not a fixed setup series, so they all have their own individual setups. And as you can see there, Janowski getting a little bit wide there coming into turn 1. And all of these drivers will have an extremely low, or the lowest downforce that they can possibly have to maximize the speed on the outer bit of the circuit. So the real part of the race that these drivers are going to be able to win it or lose it is on that infield section of the track, which has got some very typical and tricky corners, like the Rodrigo International Horseshoe corner, the hairpin that comes down after turn 2. You know, very technical corner that you can get wrong really easily. And then the very fast turn 4 going into turn number 5, which is another hairpin that does catch a lot of drivers out. So I'd expect to see, certainly on sort of lap 1, if we're going to have incidents, it's certainly going to come down to the Rodriguez International Horseshoe turn at turn 3 or turn number 5.
So Jovanovski just, well, being more Jovanovski really at turn 1 there. That means he's not going to, he's not, I'm sorry, someone had to do it, didn't they? Obviously, that means he's not going to improve his time, which, I mean, seeing how competitive it is, I mean, we've got Mcbride, I've seen, just have a look, he's on a couple of green sectors, so he may well improve. Bingham, currently down in 7th, that is really low for him. And he's been unable to progress. That's not an improvement for him. He went 3/10 slower on that lap. But Kamel getting it up inside the top 10, well and truly up into 9th place for Audi there. He's also joined by, well, I'll tell you what, a great outing for his fellow Audi driver, Aaron Kindness, who is in 12th place. Just having a little bit of a look up and down the field of who we've got. Ian Manners yet to set a time. I think he's got a chance to just finish off his lap. Rafatea just coming round. Here comes Ian Manners for Ferrari, and if he's got no off tracks, he's got to be moving while up the field. And let's find out how he gets on. This is coming around the last, well, say corner. It's all part of that sweeping start-finish straight as Mcbride just gets it onto the pole right at the depth there. What a blinding lap. Nearly half a second quicker than Jovanovski. Wow.
I mean, yeah, if you're going to put a lap in, put it in right at the end there. I mean, 0.4 of a second. The rest of the field really close to him, but he sort of smashed that field. And what he's done is put himself in prime position now with Gandolfi currently sat in 4th place there. And so he's got 2 cars in between him and his title contender. So, you know, that's all the pressure now on Gandolfi, and Mcbride is going to be at the front of the field commanding the pace.
We were just saying earlier in qualifying, Andy, how close it was between so many of our drivers, hundredths of a second separating, you know, 2, 3, 4 places. And then all of a sudden, right at the depth, and we're saying about how strong the Ferrari should be here as well, Matthew Mcbride for BMW just smacks in that lap time to put it on pole by nearly half a second. And we'll bring you up your grid here. So we've got Mcbride, obviously, as we've mentioned, he's on pole with fellow BMW driver Jeminovski alongside the company. And it's an all Ferrari second row with Hubler, a great qualifying lap by him with Gandolfi, a man in form alongside the company. Petrovicius for Porsche, he's on the 3rd row with Gicklin of Ferrari. Then it's another Porsche and Ferrari row with Bingham and Gudici on the 4th row. There's the first of our Audi drivers, Hook Kamel on the 5th row, and Andrew Broome rounding out your top 10 and also the highest of our Lamborghini qualifiers here at Daytona. In 11th, we've got Roland Schartner with Audi driver and Kindness for company on the 6th row. Then moving down, we've got Mattea. He's alongside Alexander Peterson. We've got Loxon, a Ferrari with Rafa Tea, another fellow Ferrari driver. So interesting to see how those guys get on. And then we've got Fernando Torres with Vinagre, Hereford and Pedro rounding out your top 20. I'd be interested to see how Pedro gets on after last time's outing. So we've got Christensen in 23rd with Paul Robson. An all-British row with James Rankin and Dave Whitehouse making up 23rd and 24th place. Then moving down, we then got Ian Manners with Niels Hofgaard well down, unable to put a time in during qualifying. Likewise, it was Manilov and Stuart Wynn-Ness, a driver who's started to recover a bit of his form after his win in the very first round and has fallen off a little bit, but has started to recover some of that pace. Christian Engelhardt and Roy Palmas round out your grid here for the final race of the season. And it's going to be interesting, this, Andy. We've got, you know, a few people near the back here you wouldn't expect to. I mean, Niels Hofgaard and Manilov being 2 of them. It's going to be interesting to see how they get on and start to come through the field.
Yeah, it certainly will be. I mean, Manilov did have a pit lane start, so did Stuart Wyners, but the usual ones down the back there as well. Christian Engelhardt, a very quick driver that didn't set a time, Ruiz Palmers. So I expect some of them guys right at the back to start trying to make the way through the field, but that's where you see the incident, certainly on this first lap. But all the eyes at the moment is going to be on the front and the battle for that championship win between Mcbride and Gandolfi, who's currently sat in 4th place. So Mcbride in pole position at the moment, but with a 16-minute race ahead of him, anything can happen. And we know that the Ferrari is an extremely fast car, so I'm expecting a lot of fireworks here tonight in this round.
So just we're waiting to come around. If you want to follow us on social media, Twitter, we are at Apex Racing TV. Facebook is facebook.com/Apex Racing TV. And Instagram, well, you may as well guess it, it is Apex Racing TV. Of course, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give us a like on YouTube. Good to have a couple of you into the chat, as well as the Porsche 911 safety car peels off for the final time this season. We get ready to go racing here at Daytona. Mcbride leads the track away as they go 3-1. They're queuing up behind him already off the start on the race down to turn 1. And everyone just seems to be filing through initially okay, but look at the dominance of the start that Mcbride's got. Hubler's up the place, he's displaced Jeminovski, and there's a spinner! Jeminovski's off in the background there, pushed round for 3rd place. Already, it's gone wrong.
As we watch a quick replay here.
Wow.
What happened here? So coming around into turn number 2, a bit of a squeeze there on the inside. Unfortunately, a little clip and Janowski come off. Yeah, I think that's in the story of Janowski's round. You know, unfortunately, he does really well in the qualifying, gets up the front of the grid, and then has a slight incident and puts himself down. So currently, from the top of the field down to the bottom of the field. So not the greatest start there from Janowski, but a great start from Mcbride. He's got Greg Hubler, obviously his home sort of track here is Greg, and I know he is very quick around here, but look, where is Gandolfi? He's had an incident. It looks like he's going down the timing tower.
Let's check a replay and let's have a look at what happened to him so we can see there's Petrovicius from Porsche. Bingham is in the background there. You see, this is a bit of a bumpy section and there's had a bit of a nudge there, potentially, for the Lithuanian Petrovicius in the Porsche, I think, and he's getting swamped there where everyone's going so much faster, and that's going to amplify in the run down to the bus stop. But out at front, 7 tenths clear over Hubler. It's Matthew Mcbride, your leader in the championship, and he's going to be in the lead come the end of lap 1. But Hubler, that gap is going to close. We know the Ferrari, just what straight line speed it has. Just looking in the background, the Porsches are squabbling. But what can Hubler do to close this up? As we were saying, know how good the Ferraris are after our visit to Le Mans 2 weeks ago. But Mcbride able to hold Hubler off and just taking one little look in the background, because that seems to be where it's all kicking off. Bingham, a great start from him. He is up to 3rd place.
I mean, wow,
a 4 place for the international horseshoe, and yes, it's these two are all clear and away. Interesting to see how they're getting on in the background. They're all sort of fighting over tracked position between all the Porsches.
I mean, Tim, be 3.5 seconds ahead of place at the moment. These two are sprinting away, Mcbride and Hubler. Certainly the battle you can see behind there, the big train of cars from Tom Bingham, probably all the way down to Torres in 11th place there in the back. But at the moment, Matthew Mcbride certainly got the handle of his track, still keeping and extending that lead slightly over Greg Hubler, which is quite surprising because the slipstream is extremely strong around this back part of the circuit. So I'd expect that time to come down slightly as we see it coming down. But Tom's got a massive train of cars behind him, 2 Porsches behind him, just lining up to see if he can come into the bus stop and see if he can pass him.
So just going to run down to the pit stop, so the bus stop even. Petrovicius looking all the more aggressive there. It's all stream through, and I mean, all considering that opening lap bit of action, but it's all, everyone's got away relatively cleanly bar a couple of incidents. As Petrovicius has got Roland Schartner, another driver who's come alive as the season come on. He's alongside, but look, here comes Broom for Lamborghini. Can he get around the outside of both the Porsches? They're going to try and go 3 wide, but Schartner just shutting the door on Broom there as those two drivers run really deep. Oh, Kamel is wanting a bit of the action as he nearly gets right into the back of Petrovicius, but somehow Schartner on the outside line has managed to pull it all the way through and has got himself up into 4th place, and more crucially, he's closed the gap to Bingham, who's now getting swallowed up into this group after initially having a bit of a gap and a bit of a jump on these guys, Andy.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe Charlotte has been listening to what we've been saying in the commentary box, is that he's extremely fast at getting on the back of drivers, but didn't have that killer instinct. But he certainly did there, managing to get past Petrovicius in 5th place and managing to get that 4th place. So as previously rounds going, he's actually on a charge here. So he is currently up 7 places from where he started on this grid into 4th place. But it's still very early days, only 4 minutes and 45 seconds into this 1 hour long race, so it's going to be a hot battle here for this 3rd place and the last position on the podium. But the ones that ain't going to be in trouble at the moment is Matthew Mcbride and Hubler, just streaking away from these guys here from fighting over 3rd. Oh,
that's Petrovicius. He's off into the bus stop there. Oh, as we were saying about how the good progress here. Look, he's just lining up a move there on Schartner, just loses the rear end into the bus stop, and this is going to give Schartner the gap he needs to concentrate on hunting down Bingham. And we should look in the background, Broom coming through. Mcbride sets a new fastest lap of the race, a 44.8, the first driver to get into the 44s. And Broom, he's now under attack from Hubler, the Audi driver on an absolute flyer, inspired by last time out at Le Mans. And the great drive he had then, and just has to elect to zip back in. But still looking there just to cover off Gickling, who's made a blinding start himself. No, sorry, he hasn't. No, I'm sorry, I'm just confusing his fellow teammate who's also in the Ferrari. And Petrovicius, he's towed the car to the pit, so that's looking like race over for him. As we see Gickling just coming up the inside of Kindness, who's another driver, Andy, here, who's having a strong performance. The two Audis, they're going really well here.
Yeah, I'm just looking down the timing towers, so the big movers and shakers. Currently, the biggest mover is Christian Engelhardt, currently in P13, 16 positions up from where he started. So he was one of the back markers we were mentioning at the start of the race, saying watch out for him, he'll be coming through the field. And he hasn't disappointed, up 16 places. Paul Robinson, who was at the back of the grid as well, is up 11 places, currently in P11 at the moment. The top one in the top ones is Nuno Veragre, up 9 places, currently in P9th, but you've got the likes of Ronald Schottner up 7 places into P4 at the moment. Tom Bingham up 4 places into P3. But the biggest losers there, as we've seen, Gandolfi, our championship contender, with that unfortunate incident coming down into turn number 6, getting a slight tap, is currently all the way down into P16 at the moment, and it's going to put pay to his tranches at the moment to try and get up.
Just look at this group at the front. Oh, there's Hubler into the back of Broom. The Audi hitting into the back of the Lamborghini there, but Schottner just getting enveloped into this battle and able to catch up with Bingham. His fellow Porsche driver who's ahead of him, but Kindness has been the big winner. You can see him in that blue Track Scotland Audi there, now tucked up right behind the wing of the orange Porsche of Schottner. And Hubler, probably the big loser there, losing a couple of places. But interestingly, Gickling, he's in the Ferrari, that yellow and black Team Slow-Mo Ferrari, just happy to sit behind these guys at the moment, Andy. But I think he just needs to be a little bit careful, because they just scrabble past one of the back markers there. That's the Team Slow-Mo. I think that's just trying to check who that was. I think that might have been Loxon in the Porsche there. They're coming past. We ride on board with Kindness right now, and that could have been almost got a little bit clumsy as he was trying to keep out their way, but was on the inside line there. But here comes Kindness. He's making real big progress. Schottner goes to the inside defensive into the bus stop. He's just going to cover it off for now. He's going to surely be a little bit compromised in that exit from having to say that shallow line. Well, I say that, but it looks like he's actually pulling away from Kindness. And here comes Broom in that Lamborghini, and Hubler in the orange Audi looks to have got a great run out of there, and now launching on attack and looking to get past the both of them. Can he box in Broom? That's the big question. On the run down past the start-finish straight, Kindness moves to the inside. You can see Hubler, his fellow Audi driver, just following behind. Hubler taking to the apron. Can he pass the both of them into turn one of them? A big all gets squeezed in there, and 3 into 1 was never going to go. And Broom on the outside in the Lamborghini is taken off the track as Kindness just trying to get up the inside of Hubler there into the international horseshoe. Well, you could see it all starting to go wrong there, Andy, and it did.
Yeah, certainly 3 wide into that first corner. You're asking for trouble there, and unfortunately did. And Paul Andrew Broom again coming off the worst. But you had Hubler just trying his luck going up the inside of the apron, which obviously pushed into Kindness in front of him. Then the sort of cannoned into Andrew Broom, and unfortunately got a bit of a rear end, tapped at Andrew Broom and spun out. But that's the nature of this track. These corners, certainly going into that turn 1 corner, you're coming off an extremely fast arcing bend that we're seeing now, near enough at top speed, and then you're coming down to the second gear to try and take that tight left-hand corner into that first. And a lot of drivers will get caught out going into that corner, but with the close proximity of these drivers and the slipstream effect of these drivers, it's going to be even harder for these drivers to make sure that they can hit their markers coming into that first corner and not run too wide.
So with 10 minutes completed here Let's just take you through the top 10 as it stands at the moment. Mcbride leads from Hubler. Great drive from the American up into second place. Bingham third, Shartner fourth. Kindness, a great drive from the Audi driver up into fifth. Hubler is below Audi. Teammate is in sixth. Vinagre seventh. Gickling, well, Vinagre and Gickling just swapping places there in the battle for seventh. Torres, great drive from him, is in ninth. And Raffatea rounding out your top 10 as Gickling just holding all around the outside. The car dancing through turn one there, and he just manages to hold on to the rear end of the Ferrari and keep hold of that position. Wow, I thought that was almost going to end in tears there for the Scandinavian, as you can just see the rear end twitching and gripping and ungripping and sort of dancing around there into braking and turning.
Yeah, it was a great pass there. You know, he had the outside line into turn one. And if you're going to be side by side, you want that outside line because that gives you the inside line into the horseshoe, which is obviously a vital part of the track to be able to get that track position. And we saw Gickling do an excellent move and how it's to be done around turn number one as he takes seventh place over Nage. But an excellent overtake there as we watch Kindness. But you can sort of see the power of the slipstream coming down from the cars behind here as we saw the last lap where we were on board. You can just see Kindness just getting right onto the back of Shartner, but just not running out of space and not trying to get the car on the inside of that bus stop. So
you say about that, Andy, but it's really got he's a much more further ahead his Kindness than he's ever been, and he's going to look to just backs out a little bit as Shartner tries to shut the door on him. You feel like you see there's a bit of a flash of lights from there from Kindness not in place. Yeah, exactly. Here comes Hubkamel, and Kindness needs to be careful. He's going to get boxed in by Hubkamel potentially here, but no, Hubkamel clears them. But look at the speed of the Ferrari's got. Kindness must have a slowdown because he's backed right out from being in fifth place. Now Hubkamel is mounting an attack onto Shartner. Can he take it round the outside into turn one? He sweeps down, but Shartner defending hard that inside line. And here comes Gickling for Ferrari. You have to be sad at the back of his pack for the opening few laps. Is now making progress, and he's up into fifth place and picked Hubkamel's pocket well and truly there. And it looks like he's going to have a go with Shartner here as well on the run out of the International Horseshoe, Andy. A great stuff by Gickling.
Yeah, I think he was listening to you on the stream there. Unfortunately, you know what? I'll start moving up now, and he's certainly on a man on a mission at the moment, all over the back of Shartner. And he should have, with the power of that Ferrari and that slipstream effect coming down the outer part of this track, should be able to catch Shartner down. But we saw Shartner there, very defensive coming into the bus stop, that obviously caught out. I forgot who it was now. Who was it? It caught out Kindness. Was it Kindness?
Yeah, Kindness has got the slowdown through the bus stop, and he's gone from fifth to ninth after having what was the best. I mean, ninth is still, I think that's going to be his best finish of the season so far from memory. But even so, he was looking like a potential fifth, if not maybe even fourth, and he'll be devastated by that one. But he still has got time. Of course, we are going to have pit stops. These won't come in for probably about another 20 to 30 minutes time yet. As we see Gickling, here he comes on the attack in that Ferrari, looking back from Roland Shartner there as they come round the banking on the run through to turn one. And look at how Hubkamel and that Audi. He's got it. He's taken to the apron again. He's going to make it free wide across the no! No! Shartner turns to Gickling there and sends the Ferrari spinning as they cross the start finish line. And here comes Vinagre in the black Porsche looking to take a place. Whoa, Shartner looked vulnerable.
Yeah, I mean...
Wow, Andy, wow.
I mean, luckily Gickling managed to save that spin and hasn't lost a monster time. You can see him there in the background in P8, but that'd be a heart in the mouth moment there, just spinning around coming into turn number one. Luckily not to hit a wall there and put pay to his race. Oh, as we see Vinagre taking a real deep, dark lunge going into Shartner and just getting past the takeover. I think he caught Shartner there napping and just thought, do you know what, I can see the space, I can take it. So we got Vinagre, and I don't think he's ever, this would be his highest position where he's been at the moment is Vinagre. So that we're getting quite a few drivers here tonight playing above their skins where they've normally been in the rest of the season on this final round of the season. So epic racing. I mean, wow.
Well, Vinagre,
15 minutes.
black livery. You know, he's trying to be like a ninja under the cover of darkness, just sneak up the inside. Well, Schartner wasn't expecting that. Like you say, Andy, completely napping there as the Portuguese Porsche driver shot up the inside of Schartner and has left him for dead as he now looks to chase down Hubler, the German driver for Audi, in 4th place. A great race from him so far, and he'll be desperate to hold on to that and see what he can do to chase up to the back end of Bingham, who hasn't really, despite all the chaos, the mayhem, the battling, the action that's been going on behind him, hasn't been able to pull away.
No, I mean, these guys are pushing each other along from Hubler, Vinagre and Schartner. You know, they're battling hard, but what they're doing is they're giving each other slipstreams around that back end of the circuit, and unfortunately Tom has got no slipstream at the moment, so he's still well within touch of this battle we're currently watching on screen for 4th place between Hubler, Vinagre and Schartner. But Schartner be spewing the fact that he actually gave Vinagre the in coming down to this corner we're seeing now, and we'll be desperate to try and make them. Oh, it's Vinagre just trying it again. I mean, that seems to be the place that he can go in a lot later than other drivers are breaking in, but luckily didn't hit the back of Hubler there, because that would have been a pretty desperate move if that happened. But this battle for 4th place is so entertaining, and I'm pretty sure it's going to go on for the rest of the race between these drivers.
I think it is, but what they need to be doing now, surely, Andy, is be working together and hunt down Bingham, who's been in 3rd, relatively comfy, but he's not far away. He's only 1.4 seconds up the road from Hubler and Vinagre right now. And if these two work together by utilising the slipstream, surely, Andy, they'll envelop Bingham and drag him right into this battle, and it won't be a battle for 4th, it'll be a battle for that last place on the podium.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's certainly not getting away, and these guys are slowly pulling him back into the battle. So we're pretty sure, like you were saying, we'll see a battle not for 4th but for 3rd. We can see them all there on the same sort of stretch on the cameras, and it's going to be it's such an entertaining race. But one person that's just out at the moment is Mcbride. I mean, he's 11 seconds ahead of this battle here for 3rd place, 4 seconds ahead of the 2nd place guy, Greg Hubler. I mean, he's just running away at the moment with this race. I mean, I think it was it one of the first races that we saw Mcbride do this to the field and absolutely decimate the field, and he's pretty much done it tonight. And if there was one track he needed to do it, it was tonight. I mean, his nearest rival has had an absolute howler. Gandolfi there, currently sat in 12th place. Managed to make up a few positions, but yeah, he's not in the running at the moment. And if Mcbride's looking at the timing tower and sees Gandolfi down there in 12th place, he had to think all his birthdays have come at once.
As you say, Mcbride, as it stands at the moment, he will be crowned champion. And with that 4-second lead, as hardly mentioning at all, always a credit to a driver when they're out in the front and you never mention them. I think we haven't really mentioned him even since I've run through the standings, probably just coming up to 10 minutes ago. We'll go through those now because he's been in such dominant force, clear out in the front. He's not been caught up in any of the action. So your top 10 as we come into nearly 20 minutes gone and a third of the race complete here at Daytona. It's Mcbride in first with Hubler in second. Bingham occupying that last podium place, but he is being caught by the chasing pack, which is Hubler for Audi, Vinagre, Schartner, Kindness, Torres, Gickling and Raffatea to round out your top 10 here. And just looking at those times, I mean, they're all starting to bunch back up again. That group from Hubler in 4th to Raffatea, who is in 10th place. Oh, we should see Vinagre almost getting into the back of Hubler there. And Vinagre, I'll tell you what, he's really good on the brakes on those in that Porsche. You can see he just catches up so much time compared to his competitors around him. I mean, it's not even as if it was just a Porsche thing. The movie made on Schartner in another Porsche was absolutely amazing, really. He just shot it up the inside and had the car stopped and controlled while it advanced to the apex.
Yeah, I mean, you can see there a great illustration of how later he's going on the brakes than the drivers around him. Hubler was a bit further down the track than he was there, and on that corner he's just gained it right up onto the back of him, so we'll have a really good slipstream. I'm just looking at his results that he's done his last 3 races. He finished P17, P28th and P29th, so absolutely driving out of his skin is Vinagre, currently in 5th place, and his best position overall for the season is a P7. So I mean, he's just come on form at the last race at the right time. Just basically putting a bit of pride back in the Portuguese flag there in 5th place, but certainly have a stellar fight there for the 4th place between the Audi and the 2 Porsches behind him. I mean, wow. I mean, it's 21 minutes gone. It doesn't feel like 21 minutes. It feels like one long lap that these drivers have just been trying to take each other out with the positions and trying to just switch positions on them. So it's been an absolutely entertaining first 21 minutes of this race, and we've still got 39 minutes left of this race to go. Anything can happen.
We've seen this season that anything can happen. And anything will happen. We've seen drama and twists and turns to the storyline and the plot here in this championship, and I'm sure we would not be disappointed with some 38 minutes left of the racing here. Round 9 at Daytona.
I think Gickling's actually sort of getting held up at the moment with Torres in 8th place. So obviously we saw at the earlier part of the lap, Gickling flying through onto these front runners. As we see it now, again.
Wow!
Oh.
He's electric on the brakes, proving that he is the last of the late breakers here at Daytona. And nearly lunged up the inside of Hubler and has another stab at it once more. Hubler running out wide, trying to carry as much momentum as he can as he's trying to get away from the clutches of the Portuguese driver in that black Porsche 911 right behind him. You do have to wonder, with the slipstream that Vinagre is going to get, whether he's going to make a lunge into the buster, but don't discredit Schartner in that orange Porsche behind him. As we see Vinagre just moving out to the inside to make him think twice. Schartner goes to the inside, and I tell you what, Vinagre did it to him into the international horseshoe, caught him napping, and he's just returned the favour over Vinagre there. And here comes Kindness after that, moving down through the field after that, getting knocked out of turn 1. He's on the return. He's coming back through the field, and Vinagre could lose 2 places in as many sectors of the track. But what sort of straight line speed has that Audi R8 got across the start-finish line? Schartner not going defensive. And we saw Vinagre, we know he's held on to it somehow. I thought that, like you say, Andy, I thought that was him well and truly gone there, Schartner. But somehow I was onto it as we see Kindness there drifting out of turn 2. And these 3 absolutely all over each other. And in the battle for 5th place, that's all that is on at stake right now. But you think this was for the win or for the championship, the way that these 3 are scrapping it out right now?
Yeah, definitely, and don't cast Gickling. He's managed to get past Torres. We can see him in the background there, and I'm pretty sure he will get onto the back of these 3 at the moment, fighting extremely hard. As we've got Vinagre just trying to get all he can to get down the inside. He's certainly mastered that corner over the drivers around him, but Schartner's a little bit more wise to his move now, but will be the one in the firing line, as he has got no slipstream from the car in front of him, where the 2 behind have got slipstream. So I'd expect him to close up again and to be going over the line, car side by side over the end of this lap. I mean, wow.
Well, here comes Kindness, though. Schartner having to defend from the both of them. They're trying to cover him off. You see Vinagre just dipping back in the slipstream. They're just trying to gain a little bit more speed as these 3 are going to continue to swap places. And you get the feeling that pit stops is where this is ultimately going to sort these 3 out right now. And here comes Kindness. He's going to get the double slipstream from Vinagre in front of him, and then Schartner. We look back from Vinagre. Here comes Kindness in the blue track Scotland Audi. Round the outside as they cross the start-finish line, but look at Vinagre. Here he comes up the inside, trying to get past Schartner. Oh, wow, look how deep he is able to get on those brakes. Vinagre is spectacular, Andy. And is he going to pull off a move into turn 2? So it's turn 3, isn't it? The international horseshoe. No,
Sharner goes really wide there. He's given the door. It's going to be side by side. That was it. But watch this next corner with Sharner. This is a corner that Vinagre has got the awesome braking capacity on the rest of the field. Sharner covers that one off. No Vinagre's behind him, so covers up really well. So Vinagre not been able to get up the inside, but there's certainly some support in the chat for Vinagre from Esim Racing, saying Vinagre, let's go to the podium, and Esim Racing, great fight again. So putting up a really good show, these three drivers at the moment. But like I said, just watch out for Gickling behind. He's sort of closed the gap down now.
You see Vinagre getting past Shartner there. Battle of the Porsches, but don't discredit Kindness in that blue Audi R8. Tucked behind these guys. Just happy to let them duel it out for a little bit. It's getting incredibly close there into the bus stop chicane. Who's going to get the bus run out here? Surely your money has got to be on Kindness. But has he pulled out the slipstream maybe a little bit too early there? And these lot need to be careful. They're battling so hard because look who's catching right up behind them. It's Gickling on the return. But Team Slow-Mo in the Ferrari. So you see Kindness just trying to find his way past these guys. But he just seems to lack that couple of miles an hour of top speed to get the move done, Andy.
Yeah, definitely. We got our first couple of pit laners. Tom Bingham's come in from third place in for his pit stop. Fernando Torres has come in for his pit stop. Obviously not the footballer, but you never know, it might well be. So we got the two coming in for the early pit stop at the moment. Tom was a bit out in front, but what he was doing with this battle on camp, as we see here now, Gickling, as I said, watch out for him, has managed to catch up with these four, and now Gickling's in the battle. As he has a little moment with Kindness coming into turn number 5, and wow, these four are just going to fight it out. And I think you're exactly right, Tim. It's going to come down to this pit stop strategy and who's going to risk taking the littlest amount of fuel to trying to get a slight advantage on this. But with these four, they sort of yo-yo. They get a little gap. Somebody gets a breakaway, and then basically the drivers behind manage to pull them in. So I think these four are tied together now, and it's certainly going to be an interesting last half of the race as we're 28 minutes into this race. So I mean, it's just been absolutely entertaining for this battle for fourth place. I mean,
it's been spectacular as we see Kindness. Could this be finally the time? Just seems to lack that little bit of a confidence in the wheel-to-wheel action, does Kindness, compared to Shartner. That's all. Hold on a minute. Vinagre, a very wide line there, and almost, I think he might have even scraped against the wall, and that's now going to leave him vulnerable to Shartner, who's going to be catching up with him. He's going to have the much quicker exit off the corner, where obviously he's travelled less distance, and here he comes. He's going to take that high line in the background. Kindness just trying to cover off Gickling for now. As we see Shartner, he's on the right. Vinagre on the left on the inside line. Can Kindness flipping up the inside of Shartner? Shartner taking that wide line and coming all the way down. And in the end, just tucking in behind Vinagre for now. Wow, as we just having a little look at it, well, these guys are, well, semi in order for right now. So Bingham, as you said, Andy, first the stoppers, he has gone down from 3rd all the way to 18th because of that. So he is the lead driver that has pitted so far. Luxon just coming into the pits right now. And I think the interesting battle for Tom Bingham is, what can Hubler get done in that Audi? Currently in 3rd place is the German. He was slightly catching Tom Bingham, and if he can have a few decent laps, I think then this is going to be his time to strike, surely.
It has, but I think with these four, or these three at the beginning, now the four, a trio of 4 cars now, is that Tom was actually pulling away. He was about 3 seconds ahead of these guys when he went into the pit. So with this intense battling that we're seeing on screen, they did lose. Oh no! As Shartner just taps onto the inside of Vinagre and takes him into the bus stop. Oh, absolutely terrible. You know, puts pay to Vinagre, and he will certainly have to either go slowly back to the pit stop, but they do get fast repairs, so he can come out if he has managed to recover his car. It's obviously pit lane.
But while they touched, Andy, look what it's done. It's allowed Kindness. There you go. That's released Kindness from Shartner, who heads to the pit lane. But Kamel's gone into the pits as well. Where is he going to come out in relation to Tom Bingham? Tom Bingham currently in 18th place and was occupying 3rd. But Kamel potentially could make the jump on him. We'll find out very, very shortly. As we see Kindness, he's now up into 3rd place with Gickling just behind. Broom making progress. He's battling out with... No! Kindness has lost it! He's lost the rear end for 3rd place after a brilliant race for the Scottish driver, and he's falling down through the order. He just can't catch a break. He was on for by far his strongest race finish of the season, and then undoes it in a flash there.
So we'll see what happened here as we come around and out of turn number 2, coming down into the horseshoe. I think he just tries to get on the power a little bit too early and just loses the back end and just can't catch it. I mean, that's so easily done by that horseshoe, but fair play to him. He did let the others pass without trying to get in front of him, so you know, didn't lose too much time there, but has now put himself off the fight for that 3rd place at the moment, as he's currently down in 7th place, but still on the battle. But hopefully then drivers get back together, because that racing was just epic.
It was absolutely spectacular. Some of the closest racing that we have seen all that season, and we've seen some absolutely amazing action as our top 2. They are in Mcbride and Hubler from 1st and 2nd for BMW and Ferrari respectively. Of course, Tom Bingham still leading the way in that little battle between himself and Hub Kamel. The gap has sort of stabilised at around about the 2-second mark, although they do have ranking in between them. So we see Rafter and Broom coming in right now side by side for Lamborghini and Ferrari.
Watch your speed, guys. We don't want any 40-second pit lane penalties for speeding. Probably the easiest track out of everyone to get that pit lane speed in, because you're coming off an extremely fast bend into a straight line for the pit stop. So hopefully we won't see some of the front runners lose their position for trying to speed into the pits as Matthew Mcbride comes out. And obviously they've changed this one. iRacing have changed, obviously, the normal route of coming out of that pit lane. You could go straight after the end of the pit lane, but they've now changed it now, so you saw it there about midway round them corners. I think probably because a lot of racers actually hit that wall coming on the outside, so extended that slowdown range for coming out the pit. So it'll be interesting to see once it all calms down where we're currently at with the standings. But at the moment, you got Matthew Mcbride still out in 3rd place, already taking his pit stop, and only 21 seconds behind Gickling. It just shows the commanding performance that Mcbride has done over this race. And Hubler, who's currently in 2nd place, is only 9 seconds ahead now of Tom Bingham, so lost a little bit more time there to Mcbride, around about, wow, I mean, that's about 11 seconds, isn't it? The difference between, no, in fact, it's more than 18 seconds between Mcbride and Hubler in 2nd. I mean, he's just had the commanding races, Mcbride. It needs to be worth mentioning, and like you said, Tim, we never normally mention the drivers that are just out front on their own commanding it, but he's certainly taken this race by the scruff of its neck and said, it's mine.
He has. He's had a flawless season, really, has the Track Scotland driver. It's just been his dominance in so many of the races. I'm sure it'll be another very calm post-race interview if we do get to talk to the Scot at the end of the race. And I'll tell you what, for me, the interesting one has been really, it is, if you look sort of further down, it is where Andrew Broom in Lamborghini has managed to get a bit of a jump on the drivers around him and is now not far behind Hub Kamel. So he's had an absolute blinding in-lap, and actually looking at it, Broom was stationary for nearly a second longer than what Hub Kamel was. They're really making great progress, as we see. We've got Christensen, Manners and Winness all into the pits. Look at Bingham on your screen right now.
Great livery.
Not that you're biased at all.
Not biased at all. Not biased
Zero
at all.
biasness. And to the biasness, our fellow commentator Dave Whitehouse, unfortunately, he's had to retire the car. Current retirees so far that we've had are obviously Whitehouse, Engelhardt for Lamborghini, and Mattea for Ferrari. So everyone's come out of the pits. Let's just run you through your top 10 quickly. 25 minutes of racing left here at Daytona. We've We've got Mcbride from Hubler, Bingham, Gickling, who's just managed to get past Hubler there. A great, we were saying about the jump that Broom managed to make. Gickling's had an even better performance during the round at the pit stop period. And up into third, Shartner 7th, Torres 8th, Raftea 9th, and Gandolfi in 10th place. And Kindness, I tell you, it's been after that spin cost him dearly. He's back down to 12th place. Vinagre batting it off with Gandolfi over 10th right now. It's really shaken things up, hasn't it, the pit stops?
It has. I'm just looking at the differences in the pit stop times. They're normally very close together, but we can sort of see here Tom Bingham had done a 21.7 pit stop where he was stationary for, and he came in rather early, so it'll be interesting to see if he can go to the end. But take that to the other end of the spectrum, Ronald Shartner, 26.65 seconds, nearly 5 seconds stationary longer than some around him, and over a second than the group that he was facing in 4th place. So, I mean, he's certainly the one that has lost out in the round of pit stops, going from that battle fighting for 4th place and currently finding himself in 7th place. And like you said, behind Andrew Broom and behind him by about 2 seconds. So Shartner's got a lot of work to be making up in this final half of the race. But like you were saying, Gickling at the moment, his pit stop was a 21.95, 3 seconds faster than Hubler. So we saw him at the back of that trio of that quad of 4 before the round of pit stops. Now we see him in front, and that was due to the 4 seconds less time that he took than Hubler in the pit stop. So interesting pits and the amount of fuel that the different drivers have actually taken on in this round. So it'd be interesting to see when we come into the latter half of the race to see if some people may have got their pit strategies slightly wrong.
Well, yeah, the one that, I mean, just as we see on the screen now, that it's the battle for 12th place, Pedro for Lamborghini, just ahead of Guidici of Ferrari. The interesting ones for me are, like you're saying about Gickling, but also Tom Bingham in the Porsche, currently 3rd right now. He had the quickest stop of anyone, yet he came in before so many of the other drivers ran. I mean, put it in contrast to Hubler and Mcbride. They came in on lap 18 compared to Bingham's lap 15, yet they were put in around about 2.5 seconds more of fuel compared to Bingham. Has Bingham got enough to get him home? Is he banking on being able to fuel save and still retain that place on the podium? Well, we've only got 21 minutes and 50 seconds, to be precise, to find out. Has he got enough? It worries me a little bit, that one, Andy.
It is, but I know my teammate. He's very methodical, so I'm gonna have faith that he's put just enough in to get him over the line. So go! And there's no bias from the commentary team, obviously.
No, or positive thinking and a bit of praying as well from yourself there, undoubtedly. Undoubtedly, as you just see Hubler there, it is attempt to chase down Gickling, who since getting past the Audi driver, Gickling has managed to pull himself out. Bit of a gap here, about 1.3 seconds. The Ferrari pulling away from the Audi, but even so, 5th place for Hubler. He's going to be ecstatic with that one if he can, providing he can hold on to it, Andy.
Yeah, I'm just looking at his positions that he's finished. It's like 17th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 10th, 11th. So he has not been in the top 10. In fact, he's been in top 10 in round 3 in Suzuka. But apart from that, he hasn't reached this. And to have a top 5, I mean, it's outstanding for him. He's been consistently quick all season, but the problem with Hubler is that he's been involved in a few incidents that's put pay to him. But luckily in this round, he's had no incidents, had an epic battle for that 4th place, but currently not been hit or had his race hurt as much as some of them. So we're seeing a true pace here of Hubler and that Audi currently sitting in 5th place.
I think something's happened to Christiansen. He's just lost a couple of places out on track. Let's see if we can bring you a replay of that one shortly. And there we go. As if by magic. Keen up for the producer. Here he is in the Ferrari, and just losing it there there's some bumps there, and I know myself definitely as being a commentator rather than a driver normally gets caught out by them, where it really unsettles the car, and it is so easy to do that one there, Andy. Just
it certainly is.
Car to rotate it itself.
It certainly is, and I don't think that these drivers are doing this track justice, because it's a really hard track to get around, but they're taking it like the pros at the moment and making the track look relatively easy. We see the odd minor one where they slipped out, but this track does bite back if you try to over throttle it, certainly around these hairpin corners. But these drivers done plenty of laps around here, being an obvious one for the 24 hours is obviously he's just trying to get in. Oh, a bit of an incident here with Vinagre. So coming down into turn number 5, has he outbraked himself here?
Looking, oh yeah, just lost the rear, parking in the. It's oh, you see another one of the Porsche drivers there, just in the background. I'm trying to spot that. But that was Rui Palmas, fellow Portuguese driver there, just to take evasive action and move out of the way and costing himself. As you get a replay of what happened, Rui Palmas, you'll see there. Oh yeah, just run in.
Too deep into that corner, very easily to done on that corner, because the corner before, although it's a corner, it's a flat out corner that throws you from one side to the track to the other, and you've got to be quick to try and get yourself back on track. So very interesting lines, and maybe the tyres are starting to get a little bit wear, because there is 9 left-hand turns on this track and only 4 right hands. So certainly one side of the tyres will be wearing a lot more than the other side.
Let's just see our winner all the way back in round 1 some 9 weeks ago. Stuart Winness, currently in 14th place, and I mean it looked, after that performance in round 1 at the Nürburgring, I think yourself, I think you'll agree with this one, Andy. We had him down for, you know, one of the favourites for the championship with that performance that he put in. And then since then, it's just all fallen apart for him. He's started recovering more recent races, but he's just not been able to replicate that success that he had at the Nürburgring.
No, definitely not. I mean, himself and obviously Matthew Mcbride absolutely commanding in that race, miles ahead of the rest of the field. It was like a two-band show from Track Scotland on that, and exactly that. You know, we thought, well, these two are going to be the hardest ones to beat. You know, Matthew Mcbride's just carried on with the vein that he had, but Stuart Winness, I have no idea what he had, unless he's put all his practice into that one track on iRacing. The rest of his results have been perplexing, to say the least, because it doesn't pay into his the rest of where he was at. I mean, I'm just having a look at his results, and apart from that, if you took that out, he's very much an average midfield racer. But that first race was just so peculiar, and the previous races that we've been in to see the ball from grace from Stuart Winness from where he was in the first race. Very strange, man.
It is, and you look at, you know, if you take it back to Nürburgring in round 1, we had obviously Winness winner that day, Mcbride second, Gandolfi was third, and you know, obviously the last 2 drivers have gone on and to have, you know, strong championships, been on the podium and race winners as well since then. But Winness just unfortunately not able to pick that up again, as I think something's happened to Gandolfi, which was just mentioned about him. I hope there hasn't been the curse of the commentators put onto him. Take a little look, and it's into that last corner before the oval. Yes, it is. Bumps there, catching out yet another driver, but also got Gandolfi, the latest to be caught out by that one. Oh, interesting, we've got a bit of a battle going on. With Gudici currently up in 12th place. He's getting hunted down there by Jovanovski, who started from the back, well, started from the front really. He's down 11 places. He's managed to claw it back up to 13th, but he's going to be gutted by that one, Andy. It's just Pier 2. lost connection there. I'm not sure what's happened there, but we'll see if we can bring you back, Andy, very shortly. And right on board with Jovanovski right now, as he looks to mount an attack on Gunichi. Gunichi goes to the outside. A bit of an unusual one there. It's leaving the door wide open as we head inside the last 15 minutes here at Daytona. And let's run you through your running order. Your top 10. Mcbride leads from Hubler. Bingham is third. We've got Gitlin, Hupkamel, Broom, Shartner, Torres, Rafter and Vinagre rounding out your podium.
Hopefully I'm back here now, Tim.
Oh, yeah,
bit of a mic issue.
I guess all right. I went to speak to you and then dead silence. I don't blame you for ignoring me. You've probably, after all these weeks, had enough of me, and I wouldn't blame you in the slightest.
Not at all, mate. But what I was saying was, you were asking obviously about Janowski, and I'm just looking at his results here for the season. I mean, we had a 16th, a 12th, a 2nd, a 13th, a 1st, a 19th and 21st. So a very mixed bag season for Janowski. He's a very quick driver, and we saw in this race, he's always up at the front end of the field after that qualifying, but always seems to get himself in the wrong positions for getting the incidents against him. And I think that's really what's put paid to his season. I mean, he's still in the top 5 of the championship at the moment, but in fact he's 6th at the moment. Will move up to 5th in the championship, but could have done a whole lot better if he had had a lot more luck.
Yeah, well, as well, if memory serves me right, at Sebring, he ran out of fuel all the way back at round 2. He ran out of fuel on the very last lap, literally on the last corner, and that cost him an absolute... I think that cost him, it was something silly, like about 10 places
yeah, he
that
was third,
day.
Wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
Yeah, he ended up in 12th. I mean, wow. I mean, it's just unlucky, I think. And, you know, he's one of the drivers that will learn a lot from this season. And if we see him back for next season, we'll be a whole rounded drivers, because we see quite a few drivers from ARL, because that's one of the good things about these leagues. You know, you don't always have it your own way. The racing's really hard but really clean, and you sort of learn by your mistakes that you make in a season. We've seen it from previous drivers, and one that comes to mind is Jamantas. You know, very much see a lot of Jamantas in Janowski. Very quick driver but prone to making mistakes, and now watching him in a championship, he's a more rounded driver and he's up there fighting for it. So Janowski is certainly one for me for the future, if he can sort out the slight issues that and the mistakes that he's made this season. But as long as he learns from them, he'll come back a much stronger driver.
So right on board with Gudici in the Ferrari right now. So hunts down Jovanovski. The power the Ferrari has got versus the BMW of Jovanovski. You get the feeling there's a move coming. Just a question of whether he does it into the bus stop or backs out, or does it across the start-finish line. Well, you can hear him just a little lift on the throttle. Line himself up to get the best transition through the bus stop. Ooh, a little bit of understeer there midway through, which might just cost him and allow Jovanovski just to keep hold of that 12th position for now.
Definitely. I mean, it's just been an entertainer. I think the round of pit stops has nullified some of the awesome battles that we were having in that first part. We haven't really got the super close racing that we had for the first sort of 30 minutes of this race, and I blame the pit stops for that one. But you know, it's been an excellent end to what has been an awesome season here. Obviously, it should have been 9 rounds, only had 8 due to technical issues of servers last week at Barcelona. But I mean, it's just been an epic season. Since this is the first season of the AM, it's been a brilliant
someone off in the back. I think that was Paul Robson just going off in the grey Ferrari in the background there. Sorry, Andy, you were saying, I think, yeah, we got a replay of Paul Robson just losing into the international horseshoe there. So you were saying?
No, I was just obviously commenting on the season as a whole. Yeah, just took it a little bit. Yeah, got his wheel on the grass there and unfortunately got off. Paul Robinson's had a mixed bag as well. He's had some really good races and some probably races that I'd like to forget. But, I mean, overall, all the drivers in this field have been really, really respectful to each other. It's been an excellent season. And a lot of these drivers will have advanced their iRacing skills, maybe not their iRating and safety rating, but they will certainly have raised their profile of their racing ability, and I'm pretty sure that we'll see them again when we have season 2 of this GT AM trophy. And I think what has been really good is the split between the pros and the AMs, because what we've seen in previous leagues is the pros just sort of almost like barging past the AMs. So the AMs have been really tentative, but between the 2 seasons now, we've got them all racing out on track, all hard racing and all fair racing. And it's been, I think it's a stroke of luck from the guys over in the ARL to get these 2 leagues separated, because it's been such a fantastic show between the pros and obviously this final season, the final round of the AMs.
It has been, it's been a great move from also by splitting them, allows obviously more people to enter the respective leagues. Obviously, not being sort of dominated and having a cap put on by the amount of drivers that are allowed into one session. So obviously, you're able to have much bigger fields within each categories, and so like you say, we've seen great performances by so many of the drivers this season. I mean, as we've got just coming inside the last 10 minutes of Daytona, as we just watched Jovanovski defending from Gudici. We'll run through your top 10 quick. So it's Mcbride from Hubler, as it's been for, and then Bingham, as it's been for all race on. Gitlin himself back up to 4th. Kamelby, as we said earlier, ecstatic if he can hold on to that 5th place. Broom, great performance by him in the Lamborghini in 6th. Sharp the 7th from tier 8th. Torres, another good drive from him as well in 9th, and likewise from Vinagre, who it could have been higher, but looks like it's going to happen to settle for 10th place. What's been your favourite moment of the season, Andy? I mean, they've got so many potentially ones that we could choose from, really. I'm just trying to have a bit of a think, really.
I think the round that I really enjoyed commentating on was Suzuka. I think that had everything in it. I think it was some really close battering. There was really good battling out on track in Suzuka. Not normally a track we actually visit here in ARL. Very underrated track in my opinion, but I certainly did like round 3, which was Suzuka. Had some really good close battling in there, certainly for the higher positions. As going to that last chicane before the start-finish straight, that always threw some curveballs. But I think one of the drivers for me, I mean, it's been 2 parts, isn't it? I think Shartner's come on leaps and bounds compared to where he was at the start of the season. At the end of the season, he's almost like found that NOS button in his car and has rocketed up the grid in the last half of the season, which puts pace for him really well for next season when he comes in, having the results he's had at the end. You've got obviously my teammate Tom Bingham, obviously just Mr. Consistent, constantly 3rd, 4th every single race, and at the moment still sticking it in 3rd place. But Matthew Mcbride for me has certainly been the one to watch. He's just been so consistent, apart from Le Mans, which was not really his doing out of not even before the start of the race. He's just been like 1st or 2nd throughout the grid. But the other interesting things is the closeness of the field. There's nobody that's actually absolutely run away with this championship, which puts pay to all the drivers, being that the racing on track has been really close, and it's been good to see that nobody's actually run away with it, and we're down to the final round and the championship was still up for grabs.
Definitely. I mean, yeah, you're saying about Tom being the consistency that he's had. It's been unfortunate for him that Mcbride has had the same, but there's ever so slightly better level of consistency, and that's really all that's prevented Bingham from, I mean, potentially even taking the title. Having said that, I mean, drives of the season, it's a bit. I mean, knowing what we know now, you've got to argue that driving round 1 from Stuart Wynn-Ness was amazing, because he's not been able to replicate anything anywhere close to that throughout the rest of the season. Equally, I think back to 2 weeks ago, Cajea, the Spanish Porsche driver at Le Mans, what a performance he put in. He was scintillating, especially down the Mulsanne straight. He's really got, out of Dunlop at the Esses and that, he got the car really hooked up and working an absolute treat. And then, I suppose, if you fast forward to it tonight, Hubler, what a drive by the Audi driver. It's going to be ecstatic with that 5th place, definitely. Of course, Shiner, he had a good outing at Le Mans as well, and there's so many sort of like, you know, different ones. It's hard to try and pick one great moment out. We've just been absolutely spoiled all season long, realistically, haven't we?
I think we have, and different drivers have come of age at different parts of the season. We have some that have unfortunately sort of fallen away, and then some that have really come on strong. You know, we've had some unfortunate. I think Collishaw probably deserves a mention. I think the guy's had so much bad luck in his championship. Obviously not here tonight, but left a message saying he's enjoyed the league so much that he's definitely going to be in for next season. He's been one that's been unfortunate. I think from me and you, we've always wished him to do well, and unfortunately every time we've sort of seen him, he's had an incident that's put pay to his races. So there's probably one driver that probably his expectations were a lot bigger than where he had, but certainly was a very quick driver. But you know, like you said, there's been so many drivers in this championship that have driven out of the skin. I think it's just been an amazing series to watch. All the drivers have put in the maximum amount of effort. Even down the back end of the field, the drivers have been fighting really closely together, never giving up, and it's a testament to the league that we've got 30 drivers that started this race on the last race of the season, where many of them are not fighting for anything, but just really enjoyed the league and decided, you know what, I'm gonna do the last round because I just want to finish the season out on a high. And I think that's just testament to all the drivers on the field. So, you know, from myself and probably from yourself, Tim, as well, you know, thanks to the drivers for making it what has been a cracking first season of the GT Trophy Championship.
I completely and utterly second that one. You know, it's as much, you know, it's the enjoyment level of you know, to commentate on such, we've seen this great racing all season, and you know, some hard luck on some of the drivers, some, you know, fantastic luck at times from some of them. You know, how, like you say, how they've come on during the season as we head into the last couple of minutes left here at Daytona and of the season itself. It's been really intriguing to watch, and one that, you know, was almost, I'll be honest with you, I was quite chuffed that there were issues with the server last week, so the race couldn't take part, because it was my son's birthday, so obviously, naturally, I had to go along to that one. But it did also mean that, due to the service being down, I didn't get to miss out on the action and being here live for it. So a bit of a blessing in disguise, as much as it was a little bit of a pain, and I think it would have been interesting, especially the likes of the battle between Bingham and Mcbride with that one extra race. Would it have been any different? Well, the truth is, we will never know now, as we've got, just looking at the lap time-wise, I think Mcbride is going to be just coming around to complete his lap, and he's then going to be on to the final lap. So we see Hubler. I'll tell you what, this is a driver, Greg Hubler, the American for Ferrari, who we haven't really mentioned tonight because he's been in such a dominant place on this race, you know, in second. So you see him take the white flag, we head out onto that final lap. But equally, what a drive from him. This is by far and away his best performance. Just hold on a minute. Bingham and Gickling are swapping places according to my end of the software.
Oh, close last lap out here.
Out of nowhere, Gickling has closed right up onto the back of Bingham and is now all over the... Oh, he just locks up into the international horseshoe there. Manages to save it, but that might just give Bingham the breathing room he needs. Andy, we were saying about it before. Had Bingham taken on enough fuel to get him home, and maybe that's why he's been slowing up over his last few laps, and why Gickling is suddenly now all over the back of him. As we see Mcbride just coming round into the bus stop chicane here for the final time.
Slow coast.
Yeah, just desperate. to get it through there. As he just comes round the banking for the final time. See Roy Palmer's moving to the high side there, letting him come through so he doesn't have to do another lap. But your winner here at Daytona in round 9 with a weave across the line and the flash of the lights is Matthew Mcbride for Track Scotland and BMW and the championship win. Congratulations to him. As Hubler is going to come home in second, just keeping one eye on Bingham versus Giggling.
Well.
Wow,
Oh,
this is
going to be a right to the line.
To the line. Here comes Giggling. I think is it going to be too late? Maybe it's not. Wow, 100th of a second at the line is all that separates that, and Bingham clings hold by the skin of his teeth to that last place on the podium.
Oh wow!
Wow.
I mean, that's the finish you want to. I think that's if I remember one of the.
Oh, it's Vinagre just nipping Torres there. Sorry to cut across you, Andy. Right at the line, just sneaking through in the Porsche, get up to 9th place. And so you're saying there before all that started happening.
Yeah, no, basically in the Pro Series, we literally had 4 cars coming over the line within a hundredth of a second. It just reminded me of that, seeing Bingham and Giggling coming that close to the line, watching the first round of the Pro Series and commentating on that. It was like 4 car wide, but I mean, it's a bit of a disappointing that we couldn't have had that epic battle between Mcbride and Gandolfi. Obviously, Gandolfi got taken out a little bit early on, finishing there in P17th. But, I mean, overall, what a race. I mean, we had the epic showing for the first 30 minutes for that top 4 position between 4 cars. And it was actually quite nice after the pit stop. They did spread out. It gave us the opportunity to talk about the season. So it's not something we normally get to do here.
No, it made a bit of a change. It was quite fitting as well, with it being obviously the last round, to have a little bit of a reminisce and such like. And as you saw, obviously, Torres just losing out to Vinagre there by 1/10 of a second at the line. And then also we saw Hofgaard just sneaking his way past Giudici, and 700ths of a second separating those guys across the line. Let's just bring you up with your classified race results here in round 9 of the championship. It's Mcbride with the victory, and therefore the championship. Hubler comes home in second, his first time on the podium for the Ferrari driver. Bingham rounding out the podium, only just though at the line, 1/100th of a second faster than Giggling in 4th. And great to see 3 different manufacturers on each step of the podium here in the final round. Hupkamel, a great performance from him for Audi in 5th place. Broom, another good performance from him for Lamborghini in 6th. Roland Shartner will be happy with 7th. Raffatea 8th. Vinagre nipping past Torres at the line then to claim 9th place. And Torres obviously rounding out your top 10. Manners, it's 11th with Jovanovski, Nils Hofgaard, Giudici. Adam Kainis will be disappointed by that one after running as high as 5th place at one stage, dropping down to 15th, just in front of fellow Track Scotland driver, obviously different manufacturers, Kainis of Audi, Winness of BMW, 15th and 16th respectively. Gandolfi, 17th. Jez Rankin, he was in 18th place, with Manlov in 19th. Then we had Loxon just rounding out your top 20, and then Hereford, the last of the drivers on the lead lap in 21st. Christensen finishing 2 laps down, likewise with Roel Palmas in 22nd and 23rd, respectively. Pitch Vitchews in 24th, 3 laps down. Then 4 laps down each were Robson and Peterson, with Pedrero is 27th, 7 laps down. And Dave Whitehouse returning the car 28 laps ago and in 28th place. Nice little bit of consistency in numbers there. And nearly, because he drives them at car 29, so that was nearly a close streak. The 28s there for Whitehouse. Egelhardt in 29th for Mattea. We lost in the 2nd lap and rounding out your field.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
I mean, big shout out to Dave Whitehouse as well as an epic season. We've also had a birth of a new child for Dave Whitehouse, so a big shout out to him. Who, luckily for last season, another person that profited from Barcelona when that happened actually had his baby on that day as well. So congratulations to him. So not all bad.
No, I no, definitely be chuffed with that one being a new dad. Oh, David, many congratulations to him from ourselves and everyone here at Apex Racing TV. We're just waiting for a few of the drivers to head across to the waiting room so we can have a bit of a post-race chat with them. There's one or two of them I'm definitely looking forward to having a chat with. Now, just while we're waiting for them, if you want to stay up to date with everything that's happening here at Apex, you can do so on social media. We are at Apex Racing TV on Twitter. Facebook is facebook.com/Apex Racing TV, and Instagram, of course, being Apex Racing TV. Now, obviously, if this hasn't been enough of the action for you, then obviously, I don't know how, obviously, it's absolutely epic racing. We've got the Ray Esports League. That is tomorrow night. They are for round 5 at Laguna Seca. And then we've got the ARL NASCAR B-Class Championship. That is round 8. That is at 8 p.m. tomorrow evening. And they're at Miami Homestead with the Wave Italy Prototype Championship. That is round 6 from Spa-Francorchamps. That's going to be absolutely delightful. That is on the 17th, which is Friday at 8 p.m. and then 9 p.m. also on the same day. So an hour later, we've got the Radicals, week 1 from Hungary. Can you believe it? We're into another new season here on iRacing. Then finally, we've got the VRS Super Series F3. That's round 4 of Road America. And that is on Saturday night at 8 p.m. And still waiting for... that's what obviously it's completely and utterly throwing me out, Andy, because obviously we've been in a different room this week, and all of a sudden I've just spotted them. Everybody, they're all above me in a completely different room. And it's completely through. Let's have a quick chat. I'll tell you what, with a driver that I know is definitely going to be thrilled to absolute bits with his first time on the podium in the last round of the season for Ferrari and Samson Canan. It's Greg Hubler. Congratulations.
Hey, thank you, Jim, very much. Really appreciate it.
It looked like an absolute, well, it was a crazy race with what was going on behind you. Were you glad that you just managed to break away with Mcbride early on and had a quiet race by, well, what you'll see later on, hopefully when you watch the broadcast back, was a crazy race kicking off behind you?
Oh, completely. I mean, that it was an absolute dream start, seeing, an initial gap open up, and then I knew there was no way I was going to challenge for first, but I figured as long as I could hold on to the toe and, just build up a gap and then just tried to stay consistent. It was a race of concentration. I could see this close gaggle of cars behind, and I was delighted to be way out in front and just keep my focus the whole time.
I think a question that many people at home be asking is, where has this pace all of a sudden come from right at the end of the season? Absolutely brilliant performance from you, and it wasn't, an easy second. You just completely and utterly commanded that position.
I'd say it's I don't necessarily have a ton of just natural talent, so practice is always really important for me. I've gotten some coaching and preparation for last year's Daytona 24 here, and just tons of laps. And but having good teammates to work with and keep developing. I'm definitely a lot better at tracks that I have this type of practice on.
That's completely understandable. And it's before we let you go, right, Greg, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to at all?
Well, of course, my wife, who's the sim racing widow, at times. So I appreciate her patience with me. A big shout out to David Sampson, who started the Samsoid community and the Samsoid Canon team. My teammates, well done to Ian. He's been remarkably consistent all season long and is always fun to race with. And a shout out to the Apex crew. You guys do a great job. Love the setups. Great job announcing and producing these broadcasts.
That's no problem. And very kind of you to say that about ourselves there, Greg. That's Greg Hubler, who finished second today for Ferrari and Samsoid Canan. And the next one that we're going to hear from, Andy, is, I think you're probably best yourself to speak to him, as you know him so well. It's Tom Bingham.
Yeah. Oh, Tom. Bit of a sweaty moment there coming over the line there, Tom. Just managing to get it by 1,000th of a second over Gickling, who was obviously your championship rival in that race, in 4th place overall in the championship. I mean, what was your thinking there coming around that last bus stop and seeing him right on your tail?
Take it out of map 3 because I basically I pit early. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but I pit early, and then as I was pulling out the pits, crew chief decided to tell me that I have to stop again. So I did a little bit of fuel saving. Then at the halfway point, he told me I was good for fuel, and then on the last lap, I looked down. I'm like, oh my god, I've got 4 liters left. I'm never gonna make it. So yes, I had to do a lot of fuel saving and some defending to try and manage it round, and then I had to put it in map 3 on the last bit near the bus stop. And then as soon as we came out of the bus stop, I was like, I don't care. I'm putting it in map 4. If I run out, I run out. And literally just as I crossed the line, it started spluttering. Literally just as soon as I crossed the line, it started spluttering. So
I'd call that perfect timing, mate. Anyway,
never again. I'm not pitting again early ever again.
Yeah, we were looking at that, and we were talking about that in the comms, because you were the lowest person in that pit stop round, but yet you stopped on lap 15, a full 3 laps ahead of anywhere else. And obviously Tim was concerned. I completely was cool with it, like the Iceman saying that, nah, Tom's got this sorted, he'll be right. But we were like, yeah, has he got enough fuel to get it round? And by the sounds of it, as I said, Tim, he literally had just enough to get over the line. But I mean, overall, mate, looking at it at the moment, you are 3rd in that championship, Mr. Consistent at the 3rd and 4th place finishes. I mean, how's the season gone for you?
It's been amazing, really, really good. Good choice of tracks. Not sure if I'd choose the Porsche again because it sort of died on the tires a little bit, and the power of the Ferrari was just superior. It was amazing, yeah, really, really good season. All the guys have been super nice in the chat and everything, and just another good show by Apex. And thanks to all the guys for joining in, and it's been amazing.
Yeah, it has been good, and it's been a royal preview to the rest of the seasons, because this is the first season of the AM Championship. So obviously we know that Papa Bingham is watching, so a big shout out to you, Papa Bingham, Simon Bingham, watching his son there, coming over in 3rd place overall in Daytona and 3rd race overall in the championship. Before we let you go, Tom, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, massive thanks to all the guys at Apex. You guys have been awesome. The commentary and the live stream has been flawless every time, so thank you for doing that. Big thanks to all the Performance Link guys, including yourself, Andy, and big thanks to my wife for putting up a sim racing, and anybody else that knows me.
So cheers, Tom, and chat to you afterwards. So I think we might have time for one more, and we have Matthew Mcbride, who's managed to sort his mic out. I didn't actually think he was getting in. I think I told him off at the start, so he sorted it out. So over to you, Tom, with Matthew.
Wow, what can we say? Another victory for the season for yourself, Matthew, and the championship as well.
Yeah, no, I'm really happy with that. I'm not going to say this race was easy. I don't think any of the races are easy, but I think I got a lot of luck in this one, and I just got to drive my own race, which was quite nice.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying in the commentary earlier that we hardly mentioned you because it was so commanding you out in front, and there was, you seemed to get a great start. I mean, was your intention to, as you came, we came across the start line, were you trying to intentionally sort of back up the pack because behind, and when you saw that they were going 3 wide right behind you, did that sort of breathe a little bit of, sigh of relief to yourself because you knew that where they were battling and you already had a few temps over them, that you should be able to get through turn 1 with no problems and head off into the distance and extend your lead?
Yeah, I kind of thought to try something a bit different with the start, because I usually start very early, and I know Gandolfi has been, and I think Alan was starting earlier as well when he was on pole. So yeah, I just thought try something a bit different, try and catch people off by surprise, because it's quite a long straight down to that first turn, and I'm not a big fan of this track either, so I was quite worried about that turn 1. But yeah, once I seen them all starting to squabble over each other, I just got a huge break big bit of gap behind P2 and just worked away.
So, of your performances, obviously, particularly looking at your wins so far this season, obviously, the one coming at Sebring, what's been your favourite of the two victories, or has it been, one of the other races? I mean, of course, you finished on the podium at Red Bull, Okayama. I'm just going off the top of my head now. I think Hungaroring as well. I think it's only been was it Suzuka and Le Mans the only time you haven't featured on the podium this season. So obviously we know about Le Mans, obviously where you had your incident at the coming out the forward curves as we're starting the first lap, so that was put rude to that one. But which has been your favourite performance so far this season?
I think it was the first race at Nürburgring. I only got second place, but it was my teammate Stuart who got the win there. But that's my favourite track, and that's the track I felt most comfortable at. And I just got a slow. I remember still clearly. I just got a slow down in the chicane, and I had to let Stuart past. And but I think that was my most fun race, probably because I had Stuart right behind me as well. So we were kind of having a little bit of a race as well. So yeah, I think that and Sebring. That was I enjoyed that one as well. That was really good.
Of course, yeah, that's your other win for the season, and I mean, congratulations once again on taking the championship on the the debut season of it, in being in this new format, split away from the pros. I'm sure roll on next season already, or are you looking forward to a bit of a break over the Christmas period?
I'm not sure when the next season starts. I presume I might be in pro for the next one, which I look forward to being at the back, but hopefully I can learn a lot in that one. But unfortunately, I've actually just sold my house, and my new house won't be built until January 23, so I'm going to have to move into something smaller. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do sim racing this year or next year. I'm still trying to work something out.
You can do it from your shed, Matthew. I'm sure somebody else does that.
Well, that's what my teammates were saying. They were saying just get a little bothy in the garage or something like that. I was like, oh, that might work.
Apparently, there's some bloke called Jim who became remotely popular on YouTube doing something similar.
Yeah.
Anyway, so before you let you go, is anyone you would give a shout out to at all?
Yeah, no, I thank all the guys at Track Scotland. I think we've all had a good time in the series as well. I want to thank you guys as well. I think the broadcasting and the commentary has been brilliant, and I'm definitely hooked on the ARL championships now. Definitely.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. That's Matthew Mcbride, your victor here today for BMW Track Scotland, and also your championship winner. Wow.
Nice.
Well, Andy, it's been what a season it's been. It's been spectacular. We've had a lot of fun. We've seen a lot of drama. We've seen a lot of excitement. I think that just leaves us, as usual, your one word to describe everything that's happened this season.
Magnificent. And
there we go. From myself, Lewis, Andy, and also Dennis that we had earlier on this evening on production with ourselves. Thank you very much, and thank you for tuning in for this championship, and good night.